What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The catch. Fam, hope you guys are doing great tonight. Hope everyone's having a great start to the weekend and a fantastic Saturday. Hope you guys are ready for some live 2025 fantasy football drafts. Hopping into some underdog fantasy football drafts tonight. Oh, man. We got a lot to talk about. We've got some training camp excitement, some injury updates. It's that time of year, boys and girls. So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have some fun and talk some fantasy football, hop into a couple drafts tonight, and we're going to hang out for a bit. Got on a little bit earlier tonight. So, definitely going to hop into 2 drafts tonight at least, and hoping we'll see how I feel. I'll just leave it at that. But should be a fun time tonight. So hop on in here. Come hang out. Let's talk some fantasy football, boys and girls. Let's have some fun. All right. I want to hop into, I don't know. I've been looking at a couple different contests. Well, I do want to do a Best Ball Mania tonight, but I don't really want to warm up with it. I think I'm going to hop into the Pomeranian for like second there. I'm like, I don't know if I know to say that. Mini Golden's interesting. This is just a single entry. This is like almost the same exact entries tournaments. I guess not. No, there's a way. I don't know. I was thinking. Okay. For those of you guys who do want to draft with me, let's hop in at 8:32 p.m. Eastern time. I will count down 3, 2, 1 at 8:32, and then we will enter 20 seconds per pick. Pomeranian. Get in there. Okay. Yeah, I see Jada's at the bottom of the chat. Mini Golden is just a lottery ticket. Yeah, I don't really like winner takes all. I mean, it's fine. What is it, a $2 entry? Yeah. It's not a bad lottery ticket, right? But yeah, we're going to get in just a moment here. I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1 at 8:32 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you guys hop in here with me. And if you don't get in on the first draft, we'll run a second draft. Don't worry. So super cheap entry, just $3. All right. It's 8:32. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Let's do it. 10 spots, 9 spots. Fill it up. It'll be all catch fam in the draft tonight. 8 spots. Let's do it. All right. Say what's up to everybody real quick. RS German, what's going on? How we doing? I did a 3-second countdown. Hope that was good. Already got about 200 drafts in. It's my year. Let's go. Never a bad time for another one, you know? All right, let me run through some training camp news. This is going to fill any second now. It is filled, just so you guys know. Ooh, look at that. The 112 tonight. I didn't get in with any of you guys. How did that happen? It's okay. We'll get. I was like, wait, I thought at least one of you guys would be in here, unless there's a username I don't recognize. That's crazy. But yeah, I'll do a Best Ball Mania after this one. All right, I did want to go over some training camp news in just a second. Still getting halfway set up. Forgot about the poll. But that's okay. I'll warm up with this one. At the 112, I do like this spot. All right, in terms of training camp news, I would say I'll go ahead and run through what's on here, and then if there's anything else that I've seen, I'll go over that as well. Let me go ahead and switch the view for you guys. All right, Matthew Stafford being evaluated a week at a time as he continues to miss training camp with a sore back. For me, this is nothing to be concerned about. No real news here. I feel like we had like the same exact reports like the last 2 off seasons with Matthew Stafford. I mean, he's up there in age. there's just nothing in terms of the Matthew Stafford thing that I would be concerned about. Puka Nakua, Kyron Williams. I feel like there's nobody else really high draft capital there that you guys are going to be worried about. Um, so yeah, I'm not going to freak out about Matthew Stafford being well rested at age 37, going into his 17th year in the league. Treylon Burks suffered a fractured collarbone. Got to feel bad here. Can't catch a break. Cam Moore talking him up like 48 hours ago. As being a player who could be, big part of this offense this year. Doing the young quarterback thing, and then Treylon Burks is going to miss some time, and combination of injuries over the past couple years, this doesn't look great. But once again, this is not really a player that, like, in terms of fantasy, you guys were like eyeballing super crazy. All right, generally at the 112, going back-to-back receiver, I have a tough time not. I was about to go back-to-back running backs there. I feel like I don't have a lot of Ashton Genty shares, so I'm going to take him. I got HA and a notch above Genty. Henry right there too. I thought for a second Amon-Ra might have fallen, but I didn't really expect it to happen. But we'll get a Genty share. Why not? All right, Joe Mixon is expected to be out for an extended period of time with a frustrating foot injury. Mixon will be reevaluated closer to the season to determine his availability. I don't like this report because frustrating foot injury is very vague. We had heard like there was a toe issue at one point, and then like, is this connected to the ankle issue last year? I don't like this report. I'm not going to overly panic. I already wasn't really targeting, like, I don't have a lot of Mixon shares. Going into his 9th season, age 29, this is that kind of age for running backs. It's not great. If he had been fully healthy last year, he more than likely at worst would have finished as like the RB12. He could have finished much closer to the RB10. He was the RB17 last year. So it's not awful. He played through 14 games, and like missed most of that week 2 game, had 9 snaps, 5 targets, 3 catches against Chicago. So yeah, I don't love this report for Joe Mixon. Obviously, Nick Chubb, I think, will go at a slightly higher ADP now, but also Woody Marks, a popular name, the rookie out of USC. And for what it's worth noting, Dameon Pierce with a quad injury is on the PUP list as well. So I do expect through the month of August, until we get a clear stance on Joe Mixon, to see some other Texans running backs move around in ADP. All right, Justin Jefferson is dealing with a mild hamstring strain. He will be reevaluated next week. So I wouldn't freak out about this. This is very similar to like what Jahmyr Gibbs had at the end of last offseason that ended up not impacting him whatsoever. We know what Justin Jefferson is at age 26, going into his 6th season in this Kevin O'Connell system. Like, they're going to be extra delicate with a player of Justin Jefferson's caliber. I do think the argument of like getting JJ McCarthy's chemistry with Justin Jefferson more established, like, that is important, but I don't know if it's super drastically important once again when it's Justin Jefferson. But we are seeing a lot of training camp footage of Jordan Addison heavily involved in this offense, and I do think that is good to see in terms of the chemistry between JJ McCarthy and Jordan Addison. That should definitely carry over into the coming season. And you guys who've been following the channel this offseason know that I've been very high throughout the offseason on Jordan Addison at his given ADP. So don't freak out about JJ. I don't think there's much to be concerned about. All right, we did have a scary moment with Justin Fields suffering a foot injury. And just don't forget, guys, at this point in the offseason, when a player gets injured in training camp, they're always going to be carted off the field. 90% of the time, they're going to be carted off the field. So just don't freak out if you guys see that. And the where the practice field is compared to the practice facility, there's just no way that these players are just going to walk, right? So this was a thing that came up a lot last offseason. So when he was carted off, I mean, obviously it doesn't help like the concern, right? But just don't freak out. You're going to see reports like that. And then, yeah, I mean, then we had Aaron Glenn come out and like it was a little bit unknown, and like uh the coach speak from Aaron Glenn wasn't super supportive, right? Encouraging. And then it turned out just to be a toe injury, and he like suited up the following day. So I'm sure they'll continue to be uh, delicate with Justin Fields. And then once again, a quarterback from a fantasy perspective who we're relying on in terms of rushing upside. Like this is something to monitor for sure, but Justin Fields, I don't think there's much to be overly concerned about at this point in the offseason. All right, that's all the major stuff in terms of injuries. I mean, this was not a great week, opening week of training camp. Like, I mean, these were injuries that impacted, plenty of productive players from a fantasy perspective. And that's not what we want to see. I mean, some people like they kind of want to in a degree, because it gives us like something to talk about. But ultimately, we want the cleanest off season possible when it comes to injuries, especially those of us who've been drafting throughout the off season, right? All right, I got a couple more things we'll go over. Taylor hop in the next one, as will J-Dubs. Let's go. Just over 400 drafts this year. Beautiful. Love to see it. All right, so take most of these incoming reports with a grain of salt. And honestly, I tell you guys every offseason, take everything with a grain of salt. Okay, just do it. All right, Josh Palmer training camp update. He's been a magnet, quote unquote, for Josh Allen early in camp. Early indications are that he will be a staple on offense and could be a sneaky candidate to lead the wide receiver room in snaps. I will say, for what it's worth, I like Josh Palmer at his ADP. I think he's worth some shots, especially in a best ball format. I still personally believe that Khalil Shakir is the wide receiver to own when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. But I think Josh Palmer, I mean, like, one thing that I like about Shakir is not just, the productivity he had last year, but was the fact that he signed that 4-year extension. But Josh Palmer also came in on a 3-year deal. And I think when we look at the wide receiver room last year, names like Curtis Samuel, for example, even to a degree, Keon Coleman, then guys like Amari Cooper, right? Like, there just wasn't any added umph from the wide receiver room. And there's still a lot of names on this depth chart. Curtis Samuel's still there. Laviska Shenault is there. Elijah Moore as well, added this past offseason on a 1-year deal. So, yeah, I won't be surprised if Josh Palmer continues to stand out. But once again, it's training camp. And these reports we have to be very careful with not overreacting. Seahawks running back Kenny McIntosh is thought to have suffered a torn ACL, but that didn't really matter. I mean, you're basically fighting for the RB3 spot on that roster, right? All right, we do see Joe Mixon starting to fall against ADP, potentially. I'm going to go Addison. I think I'm going to take a Roma Dunze share right here because I have not been drafting a lot of Roma Dunze. And I like Roma Dunze. I just haven't been crazy on him at his ADP. But I'm going to start taking some shots. All right, Jimmy Graham retired. That happened. The Browns signed a running back from the UFL. I've been seeing all kinds of little like updates. Oh, the other big one that I want to talk about that I'm surprised didn't come up from my initial reports that I had together is that Darnell Mooney did suffer a shoulder injury and he will miss a few weeks. So I do think this is an important one to pay attention to because in terms of like the Michael Penix year 2 leap, I think Mooney, definitely theoretically be a huge part of that. But thing to keep in mind here is that he's going to miss a few weeks. He could definitely be back beginning of the season, but he might take an extra week or so to kind of get back to speed. And then we've seen a lot of interesting reports around the Falcons in terms of Kyle Pitts usage. Penix, good chemistry with Kyle Pitts. Penix, like praising. I mean, Penix kind of, in that young quarterback speech, praising a lot of players on the team right now. But we saw Kyle Pitts lining up with wide receivers over the tight end position. So listen, I get it, guys. I have not been very high on Kyle Pitts throughout the offseason. I don't quite know that I'm going there. But if things stay this way, where we've got a banged up Darnell Mooney, I could easily see Pitts, his ADP rising. He's already been taken in this draft. Is that true? Or I'm looking at this wrong. Definitely looking at this wrong. Wow. I mean, Kyle Pitts' ADP on Underdog is 151.5. I think that'll go up personally if these things continue to trend the way they are. And I mean, he's a late round 135.9 on sleeper for redraft. So I'm not going to be surprised if we see Pitts move up. Ray McLeod will be the next receiver on the depth chart. Ray McLeod had some moments last year, nothing crazy, but like safe enough floors at times. So pay attention to the wide receiver situation there with the Falcons. Continue to scroll through here as the stream goes on. And there's one other thing that I saw that I do want to bring up that I'm glad I remembered is in terms of the Patriots wide receiver room at the moment, in terms of what we've seen out of training camp thus far, once again, take everything with a grain of salt. Demario Douglas is heavily involved in this offense at the moment. It's looking like ideally it'll be Diggs as a wide receiver one, then Demario Douglas getting the next amount of shares. And the next spot is kind of open between Kendrick Bourne, Kyle Williams, Mac Hollins, Kayshon Boutte. I mean, it's kind of a wide open competition. I mean, a lot of people are still leaning towards Kyle Williams winning that over, but there have been a lot of clips of Drake May to Demario Douglas in the past week. And I mean, he's got to be, his ADP on Underdog's 167.2. So he's definitely a player a little bit down the rankings, so to speak. So that's something I would definitely keep an eye on. I mean, I even saw a report that was saying Douglas is the wide receiver one over Diggs, which might be a little far-fetched. I don't know. Also, I know I've been pretty high on Chris Godwin this offseason, but the reports around Chris Godwin are looking a little murky. Man, I don't think I can. Baker's ADP is 94.5. Dude, I'm going to draft Godwin and Emeka Egbuka back to back. I'm going to pray that Baker falls. I don't see him falling. Plus, there's somebody out here who's Mike Evans, right? I mean, yeah, the guy right next to me. He also is Lamar, so there's a chance. There's a chance. But I feel like that's a tough stack to pass up on, but we're going in Genty and Cook, B-Tom, Terry, Addison, Adunze, Godwin, Emeka Egbuka. So, I'm still in line for some late round quarterbacks, which is fine with me. See how things shake out. All right. Let me see. Joe, what's going on, man? This is not a weekly winner. This is the Pomeranian, which I'm having trouble saying that one tonight. Then we're going to do a Best Ball Mania after this. Good to see you, Joe. What's up, Andrea? Good to see you. Got JSN in the fourth in my last Underdog draft, like right at the beginning of the fourth. I love JSN at that ADP. I have seen him fall back a little bit in some Underdog drafts. What round for Chubb? I mean, that's a good question. Like his ADP on Underdog it's pretty low. And I was just talking about this the other week in the stream. Like, especially the end under. I mean, Chubb's ADP is 187.1 on Underdog. I was a little surprised by that. I mean, initially a few weeks ago. So his ADP on Sleeper is 167.4 because I do feel like the general consensus is some people still high on Chubb, but I will say at the moment I will take some shots on Nick Chubb. Definitely an underdog. I mean, we're looking at. I mean, I feel like that AP is going to change, but we're looking at a 16th round selection, 15th round, sometimes even pushing a little bit past that. So I was already kind of like, in those rounds, you're already taking dart throws, you know? But yeah, we'll see. It's tough to say at this given moment because this is still a progressing situation. I have not drafted since the injury news to Mixon came out. But yeah, I definitely think that it'll change. Taylor saying Chubb just won the 13th round in my draft right now. Yeah, he's going to move up a little bit. But this is the tough thing is like we don't want to completely overreact here. And Baker is gone. Bye-bye, Baker. This jerk. I mean, I didn't think Baker was going to last anyways. But yeah, he will move around. Raphael, feel free to shoot me an email. A big butt to the moon. Yeah, I'm a little worried about Godwin, but I'm still going to take. See, I don't want to freak out about Chris Godwin, but like looking at things right now, my exposure to Chris Godwin, 25% draft. Okay, I honestly thought it was going to be more than that. I feel like I take a lot of Chris Godwin. And I will say, like in redraft formats, Chris Godwin's kind of been like a staple player for me in later rounds. So, but yeah, Underdog sitting at 25% is not bad. Not bad at all. So, and then of course, I took him tonight too, but we took both. All right, I need to take some running backs. Let's go Tyrone Tracy. I was hoping Dobbins was going to be here. And then I'm going to go ahead and take Caleb Williams for the Roma Dunze stack. And then I'm probably going to, I don't know if I want to land JJ McCarthy at this ADP. There's a chance. Team that has JJ has Burrow and Higgins. There's definitely a chance, especially if JJ's there at 125. I doubt I get JJ. Chubb just went in the third. Oh, I just read that. Ben taking Richardson super late in best ball. Yeah, this was already kind of like a trend, so to speak. Especially like I feel like in the past week and a half, because like you think about A-Rich, you think about Danny Dimes, right? However the situation unfolds, the weeks where Anthony Richardson is starting, he still has the potential for those high ceilings, you know? And ultimately, like even if he plays 4 games and you're drafting him as a QB4 in best ball, like, you know, he doesn't have to be your every week starter. That is the advantage of best ball. So I was already kind of on board, but now it's kind of trending towards A-Rich is going to be the starter, but it's hard to say this early in the offseason. But you look last year, week 1, he had 27 fantasy points, week 11, 28, week 13, 23, week 16, 21. It's still not the strongest division in terms of defenses. So, like, I don't want to go out and draft A-Rich and Daniel Jones. But especially like as well when we're looking at late round, like wide receiver stacks, you know, the Colts wide receivers are still going pretty late. Pittman gone at the 8-4 tonight. I know Downs a little bit more popular. There he is at the 8-2. So I mean, like, you know, you snag one of those two in the 8th round. So wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, whatever. Then like you're getting a cheap stack, and I still think that there is upside involved. So I don't hate it at all. I don't generally have a ton of builds that have 3 quarterbacks. I usually stick to 2 quarterback builds, generally speaking. But if I were to go with 3, I think that's perfectly fine. I got no beef with that whatsoever. All right, so sitting at a little Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze stack at the moment. Genty, Cook, Tracy, a little thin at running back, loaded up at receiver in this draft. B. Tom, Terry, Addison, Adunze, Godwin, Emeka, Igbukba. So we got some work to do. And we're kind of cranking out the end of this tight end tier that is a little makes me start to be a little bit worried. I'm glad Tyler Warren went here as we're talking about Anthony Richardson, because this is another report out of training camp as of late is Tyler Warren is heavily involved in this Colts offense. So once again, from a best ball perspective, speaking on Richardson, Tyler Warren, a tight end, could be another player to potentially stack, although the research, generally speaking, has shown that wide receiver stacking much more valuable than running back or tight end stacking when it comes to best ball. But nonetheless, I think even from a redraft perspective, this is a player to keep a sharp eye on as a later round tight end, especially with the success at the position that we've seen in recent times. So Tyler Warren, I mean, it's like there's not a single negative report coming out about him when it comes to Colts training camp. And I mean, the reports once again are that he is heavily involved in that offense. So definitely a player to continue. Like, I feel like I know Colston Loveland's been dealing with an injury, but in terms of the rookie tight ends, Tyler Warren has been the player in terms of a fantasy impact that could be a little bit more direct to definitely keep an eye on. By the way, for those of you guys listening in tonight, our redraft leagues for the catch community are open and filling. Just if you guys want to get in, make sure you join our Discord. That link should be down below. I will go ahead and throw it in the chat in just a moment here as well. It's completely free to join our Discord. The fantasy leagues all have a $20 buy-in. You just have to DM me on Discord. I will send you the link to pay on League Safe. Once you have paid your $20 entry, I'll send you the sleeper link and you will be in. All the dates are set for each respective league. In terms of our drafts, they will all be on Sundays or Mondays throughout the month of August. And they are filling quickly. So if you guys want in, make sure you get in. All right, so the 12th round wrapping up here. Went ahead and got an additional handcuff running back who I still think has good enough standalone value. Kind of correlated him with those 2 Bucks wide receivers and took a swing on a tight end because we need to do that. So kind of a boring round there. But now we're looking ahead to picks 156 and 157. So don't exactly know. This is where things start to get a little murky in terms of ADP. I do like Hunter Henry in this range as a tight end too. In terms of, I'm probably not going to land another QB stack. I mean, T-Law's gone. Yeah, everybody's gone. So I'm probably going to have to go best available quarterback. Jake Ferguson's still available. Probably going to go with a tight end with this next pick. But yeah, I'm starting. I don't know. I drafted a lot of Demario Douglas last year, but now I'm starting to be a little bit higher on Douglas at this point in the offseason. That might be my main overreaction from a best ball perspective when it comes to the wide receiver position in terms of a late round snag. All right. Yeah, I mean, I will definitely take Stroud at this point in the draft if he falls. You see a lot of teams here starting to just, I was going to say, yeah, beef up on stacks. Like this guy's going Ridley. Ward takes him before Stroud. This player is Nico. Yep. There goes Josh Palmer, who we talked about earlier as well. All right, part of me wants to go Tua or Stafford. Just take the best quarterback here. But I'm going to get my tight end 2 in Hunter Henry, who I think is a good value here. I know it's half PPR, so a little bit less value theoretically. And I'll go to Mario Douglas as my wide receiver 7. The other player that I really want you guys to keep a sharp eye on, who is quote unquote gaining interest from other teams, and is a player that we've talked about throughout the offseason, I feel like, is Keenan Allen. Because I do think that Keenan Allen will sooner rather than later get signed by a team. And then at that point, I feel like his ADP is going to shoot up, especially if it's the right team. Like if it's Washington, for example, or I don't know, name another team that you think Keenan Allen could have an immediate impact on that is like a contending team, right? Then I definitely believe that overall his ADP will shoot up pretty drastically. So keep an eye on that. Or if you guys feel as if Keenan Allen will sooner rather than later go to another team, definitely start taking some shots on him when it comes. I mean, at least in best ball area. But definitely, I think in redraft as well, we'll see Keenan Allen rise substantially. Because not like Keenan Allen was not productive last year in an offense that certainly had a lot of struggles and bad play calling, but he has been talking to teams. He's a top 35 wide receiver in fantasy last year. I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at. I know he's age 32 going into his 13th season, but off of 70 catches, had 744 receiving yards, over 10 yards per catch, 7 touchdowns. It was definitely sporadic, but he was also like very good at the end of the season, except weeks 14 and 17. I remember I started Keenan Allen in a championship, and I still won, but I was not pleased. Negative performance for sure. Yeah, we talked about Stafford already, Andrea. Nothing to be concerned about here. They're going to be extra delicate. I feel like there's every offseason, even during the course of the season, we have some sort of update back to back to back on Matthew Stafford. He is an aging quarterback. They are going to be cautious with him. Nothing to freak out about here. So Nick Chubb goes in the 14th here. I was eyeing him for sure. I thought for a second maybe he would fall to the end of the 15th, but Nick Chubb gone in the 14th tonight. That will leave me to take a late round shot on Woody Marks. Wonder if he will go earlier against ADP. My guess is no, but I think there's definitely the potential for it to happen. And there goes Anthony Richardson at pick 172. So that is another name that we just talked about. Like definitely. We're seeing Anthony Richardson rise in ADP. So no if, and, or buts about it. All right. There's no running backs. I have to go Woody Marks. I need a quarterback. And I'll just draft Sam Darnold, I guess. Or Rondo Robinson. Running backs are weak over here. Keenan on the Niners would be glorious. Yeah, and that is a team that could make sense with the Jennings holdout, with the injury to Ayuk. I mean, obviously they're going to have guys like George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey who can get volume in the passing game either way. And I think they're going to get something done with Jennings. Then Pearsall had like the hammy, but they're saying it's not a big issue. He'll be practicing sooner rather than later. So, It does still make sense, though. J-Dub, thank you for the $5 dono, by the way. You are the man. But yeah, I do think that would be a good landing spot as well. All right, I did kind of screw up this draft because Sam Darnold. Oh no, I'm good. Different bye week than Caleb Williams. Okay, I thought it was the same. I might literally draft Russell Wilson in this draft. Gross. For a Wan'Dale Robinson stack, I don't think it's worth it. I really need to take like 2 dart throws at running back here. Go Justice Hill and Woody Marks. Keenan Allen on my board. Russell Wilson, the only other player here. Gross. Taylor, answer to the Texans running back room is draft none of them and invest in the passing weapon catchers. If Mixon falls to the 80 ADP range, I have 2 decent running backs. I'll take him there potentially. Yeah, I do agree. Like, in that range, he's definitely worth the selection at that point. Still highly productive last year, right? When it's all said and done, just kind of fell off towards the end of the year. He is kind of at that age that you get concerned. But it's a tough ADP. Like you look at redraft, like Amari Hampton, Alvin Kamara, Kenneth Walker, Mixon, Chuba, Connor, Monty. But yeah, I mean, if he's falling in ADP close to Pollard and Swift, I mean, you guys know how I feel about Swift, and I do really like Pollard. I mean, that'd be the Pollard. That would be the range in redraft. Pollard, Swift, Caleb Johnson, Tyrone Tracy. If he's around there, I'm still going to take some shots on Mixon. Chubb, I think Chubb is worth it in best ball, but now that, like, I don't know, this range is a little bit, it's not bad. Like, I'd rather take a shot on Chubb right now than Miles Sanders or Tyler Algier or Jalen Wright. I mean, I get all these arguments across the board. I like some shots at Tank Bigsby personally and Rico Dowdle. But yeah, I mean, some exposure I don't hate. I mean, look at this guy, Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, and Russell Wilson. That is a hell of a quarterback room. I can't say much. And Jordan Love, 4 QBs. But yeah, in a 80 overall ADP range, sure, I'm with you. Chubb was one of the lowest graded running backs. Yeah, per PFF last year. He was super inefficient last year. Super inefficient. All right. I'm taking a Woody Marks dart throw tonight. Yeah, O-line should be better this year. It was not going to be hard for them to be better, but we'll see. All right, Caleb Williams stacked with Rome Odunze. Sam Darnold just chilling here. Ashton Genty, James Cook, Tyrone Tracy, Rashad White, Justice Hill, Woody Marks. Basically went hero. I don't want to say hero running back. Took a running back in the second and the third. But pretty aggressive a receiver early on. B. Tom McLaurin, Addison, Adunze, Godwin, Emeka, Demario Douglas, Wan'Dale Robinson, Dalton Kincaid, Hunter Henry. Not my least favorite team. All right. For those of you drafting, I'm going to enter a Best Ball Mania at 9:09 p.m. Eastern Time. I will count down 3, 2, 1. Let's go to the second draft of the night, ladies and gents. So get ready. Less than a minute. This should be a fun one. All right, trying to look through here. See if there's anything else that stood out to me in terms of the various training camp reports. Let me know if there's anything that you guys have seen that I didn't go over. Anything that stood out to you guys, any injuries that you're worried about, maybe some of the injuries we already talked about that I'm not worried about. Are they worrying you guys? Any predictions you guys have for the upcoming fantasy season, NFL season, whatever it may be. All right, 9:09. I'm counting down 3, 2, 1. Enter. 3 spots. Get in here, boys and girls. 2 spots. Best Ball Mania, 20 seconds per pick. Revenge of the mid in that QB room with Richardson. Dude, I was actually going to take AR in that draft we just did and try to stack him with Alec Pierce at the end of that draft. All right, Best Ball Mania. 2 spots, 20 seconds per pick. I guess it's feeling a little bit slower because we do have some cheap tournaments open tonight. But that's good news for you guys. If you do want to draft with me, the lobby is open. $25 entry, of course, for Best Ball Mania. I do think it's interesting. There's these reports around Elite Neighbors looming that he might need a toe surgery, but he's got a plan. But then, like, I think that's been the case, since college or whatever. All right, let's go, boys and girls. We are in. Taymone at the 1-2. W at the 1-8. If I don't recognize your guys' username and you're in here, let me know. What's up, Albert? Good to see you, bro, Chacho. Chase, what's up, doc? Good to see you guys. Hope you're doing swell. All right, 1-5 is interesting. So I got picks 5, 20, 29 to start. Five is a weird pick. I like to get a little Gibbs in here. I don't have a lot of Gibbs shares. That's a tough pick. You're going to be looking at JJ Barkley, Gibbs, C-Mac, Puka, Neighbors. I wanted Gibbs. I truly wanted to share Jahmyr Gibbs right here. JJ or Barkley? I feel like I don't have a lot of exposure. I don't have a lot of exposure to either. I'll go JJ. That's a tough pick, though. I don't think I've drafted. Is this right? I have no Barkley shares. It's like, it happens just based on where I've drafted from. But apparently I have no JJ shares. Yeah, no JJ or Barkley. So either pick is good for the exposure. That's tough for me, though. That's the thing. Like, if you guys remember last offseason, like, no exaggeration, by the end of the offseason, 85% of my drafts were between the 1-1 and the 1-4. Like, literally, you could go back. Like, and there's a point in the offseason where it was like 95% of my drafts were from the 1-1 to the 1-4. So my exposure was like really lopsided. And it turned out to not be a good thing for me because players in that range, Christian McCaffrey, for one, a lot of builds based off of CMAC at the 1.1. Tyreek Hill in that range, CeeDee Lamb. Those were like, if you had the 1-1, those were the 3 guys that you were, even if you were switching up your exposure you got. Not that CeeDee Lamb had a bad year, but the other 2 definitely disappointed. How do I want to build this team? Give me some T. Higgins right here. Let's go heavy wide receiver tonight. Close to going running back there. But yeah, then I also I had a strategy last year that I really implemented a lot where I would target Buccaneers and Chiefs players from the 1-1 and stack them with Baker and Mahomes. But a lot of those teams had Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown. So 2 uh-ohs right there. Mahomes had a down year. Baker and Mike Evans worked. Even Evans missed time. So exposure can be a weird thing. Let's see. Joe likes the JJ pick. That's tough there. I like to get a Devontae Adams share right here. Okay, let's go. I kind of feel like most time I go JSN here, but let's go Adams. Good for the exposure. Jadis has a ton of JJCD. Yeah, like I said, apparently I don't. I do have a lot of Jordan Addison. I have no CD shares. Once again, it's not because I'm not like wanting to draft them or against them or anything. And to be fair, this is just for like when you go to rankings, this is just for NFL 2025 season. So like there are some tournaments like pre-draft best ball, super flex, weekly winners that like maybe I do have those players, right? But in terms of just 2025 strict tournaments, I don't. I got a lot of Rashad White, a lot of Marvin Mims, a lot of J.K. Dobbins, Cade Otton, Evan Ingram, Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Rico Dowdle. Those are my most drafted players. But once again, in my opinion, your most drafted players are never going to be like stud players. They're going to be late round guys that like you're willing to take more shots on over and over. Joe, scared of Barkley. I mean, it's fair. I do think the Eagles are going to run less this year. They're going to give him less touches. They may even get AJ Dillon in surprisingly more than some people are thinking. But I still think Barkley's going to have a very good year. I don't know if I'm so concerned about the injury risk, so to speak, because at the end of the day, this offense, the way it's ran, the offensive line, like I just don't know if I worry about it too much. It's kind of like the Derrick Henry situation where it's just such a clean offense that it definitely benefits Barkley in that sense. So I'm not one who's worried about it. All right, I'm going to switch it up here. Speaking of the Eagles offense, I'm going to go Jalen Hurts right here. I'm at the 16. Whoa, I did not even see that. That is crazy. I bet you are licking your chops there at pick 17. I like AJ Brown there. That is a crazy slide. I mean, and I've talked about this kind of range. And once again, it could be players switching up exposure, going for different stacks, things like that. It does feel crazy. And I still have Amon-Ra confidently above everyone who's drafted right before him here. And I really like Nico. I really like B. Tom. I'm fine with the running backs here. I like Lundo a lot too. Dang, I wanted Devonta Smith badly right here. Trying to get that little stacky in here. This is why I don't go for early stacks, because when you don't get them, it feels so disappointing. But yeah, I mean, it's a big slide for Amon-Ra still. Dang it. Now I hate this stack. I'm going 0 running back. I'm going to get, if I can't have the Hurts, Devonta Smith stack, I'm taking the Burrow Higgins stack. Plus, yeah, what's this guy? Why did this guy take Burrow? He's got Chase. He could have just taken Burrow over Devonta Smith and left him there for me. All right, we're going 0 RB, early quarterback. I'm going to switch it up. Still not high at Jacobs at his cost. See, I really like Jacobs still. I don't hate the argument. Like, you look at this range of running backs, though, JT, Bucky, Chase Brown, I'll still pay Jacobs at this price. I do think the argument that the Packers will run less this year makes sense. Because, I mean, Jordan Love was hurt week 1 last year. And, you know, they bring in Matthew Golden. I'm not saying that Matthew Golden's going to fix that wide receiver room. But it just does make sense that the Packers would throw more. They ran the football a ridiculous amount last year. And like, you know, we just talked about Barkley and maybe being worried about, you know, him coming off of such a high touch season. Josh Jacobs had 301 rushing attempts last year, 36 catches. Okay. I mean, Barkley had 345 attempts. but still, I mean, he had, about 40 less carries than Barkley. So, um, you know, he is coming off a season with a lot of touches. But yeah, I do think like the people who are worried about the Packers ended up throwing more this year, I do think that makes logical sense. Logical sense. All right, I don't know what I'm doing with this draft anymore. I think this is just going to be one of those dart throw drafts. Just get one in here. I'm not going to overly plan during this draft. We're already starting way against what I normally do. And we're just going to go swing for the fences here. Give me Addison, though. Let's get the double Minnesota wide receiver room going. Did you talk about Jimmy Garoppolo? Is he going to start week 1? No. Jimmy G's not starting week 1. He's on the Rams still, right? No way. No. Stafford will start week 1. And like, okay, like if there's a world where Jimmy Graham is starting week 1, what is the impact would be for Puka and Adams and Kyron Williams, right? The impact does not actually come down to fantasy. Like there's no world where any of us are chasing Jimmy Graham aggressively in any sense whatsoever. Right? So it does not matter to me. Should be more pass heavy with Jordan Love healthy. I do agree. I do agree with that part. But you look at that range of running backs, I like all of them personally. I mean, Jacobs was a very efficient runner last year as well. This is a tough pick for me because I kind of want to keep taking swings at receiver. I'm going to go true 0 RB. I'm not going to take a RB till pick 92. I do have way too much Chris Godwin. I do need to stop drafting Chris Godwin. It's not that bad. Godwin and Addison, who I both have drafted in this draft, are at a high percentage drafted, 29.4. Marvin Mims, Keenan Allen, Addison, Calvin Austin, Chris Godwin. Those are my most drafted wide receivers on Underdog. So I need to stop drafting some of these guys. Hurts or Cam? It's too early. It's too early for that conversation. This stupid offseason conversation. But I will say, and I said it last year before Hurts won the Super Bowl. I said it last offseason too. The Jalen Hurts disrespect had already gone too far, and it's still going too far. Value winners, not a debate to me. I'm glad that's part of it. I do think that is a big part of it for me too. Trying to push. Who are we trying to push? Slade, what's going on, man? Good to see you. What's up, bro? Chacho? It's that time of year. We're back in the business, boys and girls. I might hop into a third one. We'll see. See where the wind takes us. All right, running backs are going to be absolutely atrocious on this team. I might go tight end here. I might make this the most 0 running back team you've ever seen. Just for science, for research purposes. Yes, Slade, we might be hopping into one more after this. Got the 12 spot in my home league. What's up, Mason? Who would you suggest? Just assuming that it's full PPR, single flex. If it's double flex, it doesn't really change for me, at least in the first 2 rounds. You're in a great spot. I love the 112 this year. I love it every year. When you look at redraft right now, you're coming out of the 112 absolutely locked and loaded. It's just such a good spot to draft. There's so much value. It doesn't matter who falls or who doesn't fall, no matter what happens there, you are going to walk away with a ton of overall value. So, first of all, I would say just, don't panic. It's going to be okay. Let me make this draft selection. I guess I should draft a running back, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go back to back tight ends. But yeah, you look overall there, like Ashton Genty, Nico Collins, Brian Thomas Jr., Derrick Henry, C-Mac, A-Chain, Drake Lundo, A.J. Brown, Lad McConkey. Like the tier of players there. Every now and then, I don't think you'll see Amon-Ra or Nico slide, or excuse me, Amon-Ra or Malik Neighbors slide, but I have seen it happen. I don't think at this point in the offseason it will happen, but it is a thing that I have seen at times. But yeah, I like my goal would be to get Nico Collins and Brian Thomas Jr. I don't think it'll happen. So you could go Brian Thomas Jr. to Drake London, Brian Thomas Jr. to AJ Brown. I'm okay with a double wide receiver start, but I also think it's just a really good spot to start out with one wide receiver, one running back. Go Brian Thomas Jr., Derrick Henry, Brian Thomas Jr., Devon Achane. You want to go double wide receiver, beat Tom in London, beat Tom and AJ Brown. Fine. If Nico Collins and Brian Thomas Jr. are both there, there's no way I'm not drafting both of those guys back to back. I will start double wide receiver every single time if they're both there. But I think it's just a really good spot. Get Brian Thomas Jr., get one of those elite running backs in A-Chain, Henry, or C-Mac if they're there. Now, depending on who you're drafting with, C-Mac might already be gone. But ultimately, it is just a place where you should not be panicked whatsoever. It's a really good spot to draft from. It's going to be slightly outdated just because we've had training camp start and some things arise, but I do have a draft strategy video done from every single draft position. So if you guys need to check those out, they are on the channel, and I do have one from the 112 done if you need it. Oh my gosh, these running backs are gross. Tajay Spears, my RB1. Oh, I forgot I was talking about the 112 so much that I thought I had back-to-back selections there, but I don't. All right, this is an interesting start to a draft. I went Hurts and Burrow early. I was trying to stack Hurts with Devonta Smith. It did not happen. But I do have Burrow stacked with Higgins. We have both Minnesota wide receivers and JJ and Addison. We have Adams and Godwin as well. We have both tight ends knocked out of the way in Mark Andrews and Evan Ingram. So generally right here, I'm going to need to draft a lot of dart throws at the running back position. And I still need to get some wide receiver depth. Probably be taking dart throws at the end of the draft mostly because I can still have a good wide receiver room. And I theoretically, JJ McCarthy makes sense on this team, but I don't think that's going to happen here. Not with Burrow and Hurts. I don't think it's worth it. Let's go Javonte Williams and hope he's the RB1 in Dallas. Jaden Reed got to be damn near the best value wide receiver. Speaking of Green Bay, I do like Jaden Reed. Also, I have no idea why this guy took JJ McCarthy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like JJ McCarthy just as a standalone quarterback. But I thought JJ would fall a bit here just because I have both of those receivers, unless the Hawkinson drafter wanted him, which is J-Dubs. Anyways, yeah. I have liked Jaden Reed all off season long. I'm not expecting like this monstrous, like the way the offenses ran, even if they throw more this year, I'm not expecting this like monstrous season whatsoever out of him in any way, shape, or form. But at the same time, I do think he is worth drafting at his ADP. And he is a player that I've drafted a good bit of throughout the offseason, that I've talked about a good bit throughout the offseason. And, there are, when you look at like a redraft draft right now where Jaden Reed is going, He's in an interesting kind of tier. Like the last redraft mock we did, he fell to the 8.8. Like I will draft Jaden Reed at the 8.8 confidently. He's going after, look at the 7th round: Chris Olave, Jawan Jennings, Jerry Jeudy, Cooper Kupp, Josh Downs, Stephon Diggs, Matthew Golden, Emeka Egbuka, then Jaden Reed, then Darnell Mooney prior to the shoulder injury, then Keon Coleman. It's still a really good value at the end of the day. Now, like, I mean, he was like a top 6 wide receiver to start last year through the first 6 weeks of the season. But the ups and downs with Jaden Reed were not fun last year. He has still been a top 30 wide receiver in that offense in the past 2 seasons, even with, guys like Christian Watson still having moments, not last year specifically. Romeo Dobbs having a lot more production than people give him credit for, not exactly last year as well. And then, like, of course, we do have the emergence, quote unquote, of Matthew Golden coming in the offense, Dontavion Wicks still hanging around, Tucker Kraft having his role. So, I mean, none of those things make me feel super concerned, except for maybe Matthew Golden. But yeah, once again, like there's not a lot of risk baked into the ADP. So I will take shots on him all day long. All right. Heading into pick 149. Axis, what's going on, bro? Got a question. In Keeper League, I'm having a tough time deciding whether to keep Jade Jettis or Neighbors. It depends. Are you going to lose a draft pick? Like, where did you draft them? Would be my question. I'm assuming the first and second round? First and third round? I'm drafting Kyle Pitts. Give me some training camp hype over here. It's already a wacky team. Let's make it a little wackier. I would probably keep Neighbors because he's a first round value. Where do you know where you're drafting from yet? Let us know. Do you know where you're drafting from, and are you losing draft picks? If so, where did you draft them last year? J-Dubs, I did love Monty at the 80th pick. Very good value for you. How do you get quick drafts? All the drafts say 9-4 for me. That's when the NFL season starts. So when you click on a draft, it should be 20 seconds per pick or 8-hour pick. Then I believe, the start where it says start time, that's not when the draft itself starts. That's when the tournament technically starts because week 1 of the NFL season is beginning. Does that make sense? Pretty unstacked, so fun. Let's go. Take the Mooney slide. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, we got to look at some of these players right now that are moving down in ADP and not freak out too much because, like, Mooney's going to miss a couple weeks, but what if he's ready to go week 1? What if he's ready to go week 2? And then he's just back to normal. It's like, was the hysteria really worth it? All right, full PPR, 3 wide receivers, 3 flex spots. Ooh. It really doesn't change. My answer doesn't change, Mason. There is some more thought you're going to have to put in a draft as that draft goes on because, 3 wide receivers, 3 flex. It's a tough format. It is a fun format, though. I'm reaching on Nick Chubb. He's my training camp hype over here. But yeah, it doesn't change for those first 2 selections for me. Do y'all think AJ Brown's most underrated wide receiver? This is something else I've talked about throughout this whole offseason, and I love AJ Brown at his price. And once again, I do think the Eagles will throw more this year compared to last year. But yes, I have broken this down in videos. I think 10 players I would die for. Most recent video that I broke down my thoughts on AJ Brown in. I'm going to check right now. I think that's the one. I'm trying to check, and there's an ad. But yeah, I've been all in on AJ Brown all off season long. All right, give me Rico. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I broke down my thoughts on AJ Brown pretty extensively in that video. All right. Sorry, let me get recalibrated here. J-Dubs, I was going to take him. Who? Chubb? Jaden with a healthy Love might win leagues at that ADP. I think it'll be a very solid flex. For sure. For sure. All right, so I'm done at tight end. I'm done at quarterback. I still need some wide receiver help. And this is not a good area of the draft to be in need of wide receivers. But here we are. I mean, it's pretty bad out here. I feel like this draft went really fast compared to the last one. Maybe we were talking more. Who do you think ends up winning the starting role in Jacksonville? I think it's a committee all the way. And I think we'll just kind of be stuck riding the hot hand. Unfortunately, I like all three Jags running backs at their ADP, but I've called this, one of the great conundrums of the offseason, all offseason long. And yeah, I don't like have one particular player whom I am drafting more over the other. I maybe take more shots on Tank Bigsby is like kind of right there in between ETN and Bashal Tootin. Earlier in the offseason, I was a little higher on Tootin, but yeah, it's been a little all over the place for me. But you look at Liam Cohen as an offensive coordinator last year at the Bucks, he would play to the strengths of each running back, and I think we could see something similar. Slade, you're welcome. I know it can be confusing, especially if you haven't done one in a minute. Don't lose any draft picks. Not entirely sure when I'm drafting. I would keep Neighbors because then, like, you come out of the second round with I would keep Neighbors as much. I mean, like, if you wanted to keep JJ, I got no qualms with it whatsoever. But I'll keep Neighbors. You don't lose any draft picks. You just keep one player. Now, okay. That is kind of tough. I mean, I still have JJ over Neighbors. Like, if you're going to lose a second round pick, then I'll keep Neighbors. But in that case, I probably just keep JJ. I don't think you're going to be disappointed either way. But yeah, I'll just keep JJ. Chat, would you guys keep JJ or Neighbors not losing a draft pick? Have fun with the combine, by the way. This will be my most unique best ball mania. This is my most unique as well. No McCarthy. Oh, okay. Yeah, I there were a couple points in this draft where I consider going with another quarterback, but having Hurts and Burrow, no, I'm good. These best ball mania rooms are so wide receiver heavy. Too used to eliminator. Yep, they'll always be wide receiver heavy. I feel like. Andrea says Neighbors. J-Dub says tough. Keeping JJ. It's very close. But yeah, I still lean JJ. All right, this is definitely one of the weirdest teams I've ever drafted, but I think it's good to have some drafts like this. I will go ahead. I will hop into a third draft for anyone who wants to draft. I'm going to take a look at Tamon's team, my team, and J-Dub's team, and then we'll regroup and we'll do a third draft. Probably do another Pominary, the cheap draft, Pominarian. I don't know why I can't say that word tonight. It's called the Palm. That's right. That's right, J-Dubs. Another Palm. All right, let me take a look at your guys' teams. All right, Dak, T-Law, A-Rich. Dak with both those wide receivers and Ferguson fully stacked. T-Law with Travis Hunter. A-Rich with JT. And Tyler Warren. I like that. Stacked up across the board here. JT, Chase Brown, Swift, ETN, Braylon Allen. Perfectly fine with the running back room. Lamb, Pickens, Hunter, Pearsall, Dobbs, Michael Wilson, Yoshi, Warren, Fergie, Ertz. So on a perfect week, probably going Dak, JT, Chase Brown, Lamb, Pickens, Pearsall, Hunter if Swift isn't the flex, and then starting Warren or Fergie, whoever scores some more. So definitely not bad. W. We got Herbie fully loaded, Stroud and Stafford. Herbert just chilling. Stroud has got Kirk and Schultz. I like those two targets, later round guys. If you don't have Nico. Staph infections got Kyron. That's it. Just fine. So Kyron, Cook, Monty. I mean, good ADPs on your running backs, in my opinion. Tyrone Tracy fell against ADP. Jadon Blue, definitely worth a shot. Neighbors, Brown, Ridley, Jennings, Mooney, Kirk, Dewami Brown, good wide receivers. Hawkinson, Jawan Johnson, and Schultz. Not bad. Not bad, not bad. What in the world is my team? Hurts and Burrow. Hurts unstacked, baby. Did not get the Devonta Smith on the turnaround. Burrow with Higgins. I got one stack early. This is such a weird team. Hurts and Burrow. This is a true zero running back team. I did not go running back. I got both tight ends, both quarterbacks. What, 5 wide receivers? Yep. Before the 10th round. This was for research purposes. Tajay Spears, Javonte Williams, Rashad White, Nick Chubb, Rico Dowdle, Justice Hill. J.J. Higgins, Adams, Addison, Godwin, Keenan Allen, Dontavion Wicks, Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram, Kyle Pitts. This is, I kind of like this entry. Starting Hurts or Burrow, make your argument for 2 of these running backs in your lineup, whether it's injuries whether it's a spike week, whatever. Then JJ, Higgins, Adams, one of these 4 wide receivers in the flex. Andrews, Ingram, Pitts could also all flex. And whoever's scoring the most here is my tight end one. It's a weird entry, but I think it's good to have some of those weird entries as well. Titans can flex too, definitely. My bad if I didn't take that in consideration when looking at the squad. All right, I'm going to do a palm to wrap up the night, ladies and gents. I'm going to enter at 9:45 p.m. Eastern time. I will count down 3, 2, 1. Make sure you guys get in. It is 9:45 p.m. Eastern time. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 3 spots. Take them. All catch fam. Let's go. That better be you guys. Sorry that it became 9:45 really fast. So Tamon is here. Hopefully everybody else is here. My bad, guys. ADP slides on QBs. They were good that draft. The one draft that I go early quarterback, they were good. Surprised you took Pitts. Yeah, I wanted a weird team. Be like one of my only teams with Pitts. Typically just tell myself that because I take Bowers almost every draft. It's fair. Training camp hype is real. At least I was calling myself out on it during the draft, Ethan, what's good, my guy? Just drafted with your buddies, 10-team, full PPR, double flex. Hurts, Genty, Caleb Johnson, Lamb, Ladd, Laporta, Worthy, DJ Moore, Vikings defense, and Boswell at kicker. I think I won this draft. I mean, it's a good team, but I'd be a little. Who else is on your bench? I'd be a little worried about Caleb Johnson as my RB2. I do like him, but Hurts, Genty, Lamb, Ladd, Laporta, Worthy, DJ Moore. Is it double flex? It's a very solid lineup. If Caleb Johnson works out, who I have been talking about that kind of like tier of rookie running backs. I do really like Caleb Johnson. So I don't hate it. It's a very solid lineup for sure. Be just a little worried going all in, but I mean it's a run first offense, even with Aaron Rodgers there for sure. I'm not worried about Jalen Warren. I do like Caleb Johnson. Puka, Neighbors, Nico, Amon-Ra. This is such a tough pick, dude. But I think I'm still going. I feel like I've gone pretty even Puka or Neighbors there. So I'll take Puka. I'm on the clock in a slow draft. I do encourage you guys to enter some slow drafts. I do feel as if you can get some very good value in slow drafts. Like I feel like people don't pay attention as much. I don't know if anyone else disagrees with that, but I feel like really good players and some really solid builds come out of slow drafts. So, and also just to get a little bit different exposure, I think slow drafts are really good. But yeah, I do think you can come out of some slow drafts with some really, really good teams. Dang, I'm getting Drake Lundo or AJ Brown here. I'm going to go London just because I'm looking at cheap quarterback potential stacks here. But I still have AJ Brown a hair above Lundo. Tyreek Hill over AJ Brown. We're in it right now, boys and girls. We're in it. Yeah, that sucks. We would love to have you in here, Dubby. Ethan went all in with wide receivers this year, hoping Genty's a dog, so RB2 won't matter. I mean, yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like you're gonna have plenty of time throughout the course of the season to pick up running backs, if need be, on the waiver wire, right? guys will pop up. So, when you look at your roster and you're more than solid across the board, except for RB2, I've seen plenty of teams work out really, really well that way. And yeah, Genty should be able to carry your team at the RB1 position. So, I would kind of like in terms of your bench, continue to look at like handcuff type situations as we get closer to the first week of the season and as the season progresses. But yeah, the team is definitely solid. Get London on the turn. Yeah, there we go. I did the right thing. But you knew AJ Brown was tempting right there for me. But yeah, we'll take the week 17 stack. And let's see here. So I want to base my quarterbacks off of those picks. Penix 141, Stafford 154. I might have to reach, but I should be able to get both of them at 137 and 152, which means I do not need to worry about either position for quite some time, or the quarterback position for quite some time. So yeah, we've gone through quite a few different builds tonight. It's a tough pick. I think I'm going JSN with this next pick. I like him a lot in this range. We just drafted Devontae Adams in the last draft, so give me JSN. And then either really exciting. Either going running back or receiver with this next pick. I know. Maybe I'll go George Kittle. I do want to start getting some George Kittle shares. We'll see what happens. Go Kittle. Look at that, J-Dubs. Reading each other's minds. Yeah, Kittle is a player. Just once again, like I haven't been in a lot of positions where I end up drafting him just based on his ADP. But I don't want to. Probably going to go running back at picks 56 and 65. I don't know. I do like James Cook in this range. I think I will go Kittle if he's here. I was already thinking that. One George goes, but it's George Pickens. Let's go Kittle. Definitely elite tight end upside. With Debo gone, Pearsall probably okay, but a little banged up. Jennings, angry. Ayuk, banged up. Rookie running back squad had to do it, says Taymone. Why did I lose your team? Oh, you're over there. Yeah, Genty and Hampton's fun. It's a good start. Nico, Genty, Adams, Hampton. I like it. Like it. Oh, yeah, I don't want to get too caught up in like zero RB builds, but I also like zero running back builds, generally speaking, in underdog formats. We'll see who's here at pick 56. So I'm looking at pick 70, or excuse me, pick 80 and 89 for my next two receivers, which is not the worst range. We'll see what happens right here. And yeah, I mean, $3, have fun is a good point. Completely fair point. Don't mind moving Hampton up. I think he's won the RB1 spot right out the gates with Najee out. I am far more concerned about that situation than I was earlier in the season. I will say I like Calvin Ridley right here if he's here, though. He's not. Give me Kamara. I do like Zay Flowers right here. I'm an early wide receiver kind of guy, late QB and tight end. I am as well. I am. But that's why, like, and that's the good thing about doing 3 drafts in a night and, switching up the exposure a little bit. Um, my initial thought here is to have as much money left over to do. Yeah, I'm still on pace to be able to do a Best Ball Mania draft every day in August. If I don't do any more drafts after tonight until August begins. So trying to switch up exposure and all that. But, then I have to calculate, like, if I do some of the cheaper tournaments, how many entries can I have that would have equaled $25? So still on a good pace here. But yeah, generally speaking, that's how I would roll. I just don't love this range. I'm going DeAndre Swift if he's available here. Tamone might take him. He doesn't. Mixon, Harvey, Hendo. Harvey's gone. Give me Swift. It's my RB2. I can grind out Best Ball Manias in August. Yeah, I'm going to. That's the thing. I don't know if I'm actually, because initially my thought process was like, I'll stream every night, but I have to do, subscriber mock drafts. But I guess we have a couple days into September. But at that point, like, last week of August, I basically have to X out because we're starting, content wise, that's when content really starts because September, first week of September is when the season starts. So I could probably eliminate like 5 drafts at least, if not 7 out of that equation. Plus, we're going to have to live stream the actual drafts for the leagues. So I was trying to make sure if I wanted to do that it was available to me, which right now I'm right on that number. 776 in the bank right there. I still don't understand the eliminator. Yeah, I the eliminator is the one I'm not great with. I did enter 10 weekly winners. So I got some weekly winner entries in. Can't make myself click Saints or Browns players. It'll probably ruin me. Meh. I mean, those are 2 of my stay away teams for sure. But I always say it, bad offenses still produce good fantasy players. And it depends. Like if Jerry Jeudy falls far enough, I will take some shots on Jeudy. But like Jeudy concerns me, for example, because, essentially 95% of his production last year was because of Jameis Winston. I just don't know that we're going to get that same look this year. All right, I'll go Ricky Pearsall here. This might put me in a spot where I want to draft Brock Purdy. I'm eyeing Purdy, Penix, Stafford, Darnold. So that makes me not want to draft Purdy because I'm in a really good spot right now to get a couple stacks and go late round quarterback. Got some exposure to San Francisco for sure. I think the next move is to go running back for sure. I feel like this has been a pretty heavy running back draft, though. Man, I was hoping Pollard would fall right there. I was also eyeing Josh Downs right there. I do like Jaden Higgins in this range. Just give me a Tyrone Tracy share, I guess. I'll take him as an RB3. My last weekly winner, I went Puka Neighbors, Garrett Wilson, JSN, Chuba, Hendo, Dak, Minto Draft Knicks, then Ingram, May, Kincaid, lots of rookie running backs, Penix, Richardson afterwards. I just like weekly winners. I don't think I've ever won anything substantial on weekly winners, but I think it's a fun tournament. Yeah, then sorry, we talked about the Browns a little bit. In terms of the Saints, it's the same type of, and like right now, Spencer Rattler's taking the QB1 reps. It's not even Tyler Shucks, so take that for what it's worth. Probably are tanking for Archie. Yeah, I just like weekly winners. People keep reaching on Igbokwe sniping out him. Yeah. Where'd he go? I mean, he is starting to rise with that Chris Godwin negative news. Gone at the 7-5 tonight. Might be better doing the weekly underdog drafts. I mean, that could definitely be true. Because then, like, you know, injuries throughout the course of the season aren't so baked in. But I don't like to draft during the season. I like to get all, I just don't. But I mean, you probably make a very good point there, though. I'm trying to keep a little balance right now. I'm not going to go Purdy. Purdy benefits this team. Don't get me wrong. I didn't really want to draft Darnell Mooney on this team because I already have London. So I'm like staying away here. Just give me Charbonnet. And then I'll go Njoku if he's there at the next pick. Charbonnet, once again, like a player who I just really like because I think he's a very I've talked a lot about Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet throughout the offseason, and I do think Charbonnet is one of the elite handcuffs right now. Walker fits this Clint Kubiak system better, but if Walker gets hurt, I just think there's so much value in Charbonnet. Shadur will feed Judy if given the chance. Yeah, but Shadur is like the QB3 right now. But I don't know. Reports on Dylan Gabriel have been up and down. Really don't mind Emeka or Godwin, but I'm barely drafting Baker. I love Baker's ADP. I mean, I think it's very appropriate. As long as the Browns quarterback feeds Njoku, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I will say Njoku is the one player who I'm about to draft. You know what? I'm not going to draft Njoku. I'm going to take Rashad Bateman instead. I feel like I've drafted a lot of Njoku lately. And there's still some tight ends a little bit later. Like I went early on Kittle, and I mean Bateman's only my 5th wide receiver, so I want to hold off. 128. It's my next pick. I think I'm going to go tight end with that pick. I might just, I don't know. Yeah, the Baker interview, just kind of coming out of nowhere and praising Emeka Igbokwe. So it's that off-season hype, boys and girls. Better values in off-season, especially for rookies, for sure. Just got off work. No, this is the last one, Cats. I can't do it. This is draft number 3. We've been chilling tonight. Sorry, we did start a little earlier in the evening tonight. I am getting brain dead. We've been on for almost 2 hours. It makes me sad, though. Mahomes ADP is delicious. I like that tier of quarterback overall. Baker, Knicks, or Mahomes, Baker, Knicks, Goff. I think that's a good sweet spot. A little bit outside, Purdy, Prescott, Fields. I think when real drafts start happening, those will probably be the quarterbacks that I mostly target. Man, Purdy really does fit this team, but I'm not going to draft him. I also saw an injury to Cedric Tillman. That's not one that we talked about at the beginning of the stream. Keep an eye on Ced Tillman. All right. I'm going to die draft. If I had one player to draft on my deathbed, probably be Rachaad White. 3% Judy and Njoku, 5% Sampson, 0% every other Brown through 240 non-eliminator drafts. I mean, those are the three guys right now to take shots on in that offense. Draft number 3. Kyler's probably my highest drafted quarterback. Yeah, I mean, Kyler's fine. He's fine. I worry that offense is going to look exactly the same as last year, though. I do worry about that. All right. This has been a pretty light draft at quarterback. We still got Goff, JJ, Herbert, Love on the board. The only team I'm worried about taking Penix is this team who took Mooney. I think I'm going to see if Penix will slide. You guys think that's dumb? It might be. Let's just take an additional receiver in Hollywood. And if I don't get Penix, it doesn't ruin the draft. Plus, like I feel like if Penix doesn't fall, then maybe Goff, JJ, or Herbert slides out. Has the most dome and good weather games. I mean, that's fair. I just feel like with Kyler, the only thing that concerns me is like, yeah, I know he was the QB 12, QB 10 last year, but I just feel like there's a lot of low performances baked in. Like 9 points, 25, 11, 21, 22, 4, 28, 11, 17, 19, 10, 21, 18. It's hard to, I feel like for best ball, though, I will say for best ball, that's fine. Ooh, especially if he's your QB2. So for best ball, sure. In that range and redraft, I'm a little bit lower on him. But I think he's perfectly fine. Mixon injury kills me. Hopefully not too long. Not out too long. Yeah, that's the thing. It's very up in the air right now. All right, moment of truth. Does Michael Penix slide in the 13th round? Dak and Hurts are my top 2 most drafted quarterbacks. Mine are Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield. I'm sure nobody is surprised by that. And actually, they are tied. Oh, no, Bo Nix at 29.4, Baker's at 23.5, Stafford's at 23.5. Then I've got Burrow, Russell Wilson, Prescott, Herbert, Mahomes, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Darnold, and Tua, all at 11.8%. So I don't know what to make of that. And I don't think that's not including any of tonight's drafts. I think your exposure takes like 24 hours to update at least. But yeah, I'm sure nobody is surprised that Bo Nix and Baker are my most drafted quarterbacks. Yeah, I've been pretty low in terms of mix and share, so it's not freaking me out. Starting feeling wary about my exposure. Look at that Michael Penix push. Beautiful. Uh my exposure to him a week ago too, and I haven't drafted him since. Well, then I guess your intuition was not for nothing. Took more Cotter in the 6th round. Hey, I mean, Kyler might play a lot of COD, but a lot of these players play a lot of COD. Dang it, I wanted Stafford on this team too, Tamone. Why you got to do me like that, bro? Oh, you got Adams. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Walking boot reevaluation in 6 weeks. Definitely not ideal. Stafford's injury does not concern me personally. Amount of money I have invested in the Rams offense will ruin me if he can't play. Hey, man, Jimmy G. Jimmy G's up next. Huh? Dude, I was about to draft Kyle Pitts again. So maybe it's a good thing that I didn't. Dude, wow. This is not the pick I wanted, but everyone on my queue got selected except for Sam Darnold, and I did not want to take Sam Darnold. I mean, it wouldn't have killed me. Like I'm probably gonna take Darnold this next round anyways. But I literally had Stafford, Pitts, Demario Douglas queued up right there. So I was 2 seconds away from taking Darnold, which it wouldn't have been the end of the world, honestly. I still want him for the JSN stack, but we got the strange man. Stafford will be fine. They're going to be very delicate. He will be fine. Don't panic. Bo Nix to the moon. Yeah, I think that was a little. I think Tamone just put that in the chat because he didn't want me to take Stafford. I'm just kidding. Stafford's my second most owned quarterback. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, Devonta is your boy, isn't he? Dude, the Anthony Richardson hype. This is my number one takeaway from tonight in terms of ADP shift. Maybe I was next to Nick Chubb, but the Anthony Richardson hype is for real. He is getting aggressively selected. That is for sure. Dude, I kind of want to take Jalen McMillan right here. I'm going to take Darnold to get my second stack. I was thinking about pushing Darnold, but yeah, Nick Chubb was my next. I was going to take Chubb, then push Darnold. But I don't know. This last two teams, one's got Burrow, Mahomes. That doesn't worry me as much as Jaden Daniels and Anthony Richardson. I could see that team maybe going with Sammy D, Darnold, because now that Darnold's gone, we got Daniel Jones, Tyler Shuck, Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Shadur Sanders, Joe Flacco, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I mean we've had so many Stafford injury reports in the past two off seasons. I would not even be fretting about it, man. Stephon Diggs will rise. I am seeing some Stephon Diggs hype out there for sure. Man, This might be crazy, but I like Jonnu Smith in this range. And he's falling against ADP. I mean, I like him a lot more if he was with the Dolphins, but I still think he's going to have a role in this offense. And this team needs some tight end help. So, all right, we got 2 more picks. So I can really just go best available player these last 2 picks and feel good. I have a high exposure to Dontavion Wicks, but I really like him as like a final 18th round dart throw. I've seen like positive reporting around Jermaine Burton. I'm scrolling down right now to see who's there. Keandre Lambert Smith could be interesting. I still think Demarcus Robinson on San Francisco is slightly interesting. Might be a 4 tight end build. Sometimes you got to Frankenstein it together. Who do you got? Goddard? Chig? Yeah, I mean, it might be. Dude, sniped on Keenan Allen over here. What is that? What is that? I guess I'm going Dontavion Wicks against ADP because I'm not prepared, which doesn't really bother me. I might just give this quarterback room some depth. I really wanted Stafford on this team. Bummer. Might go Tutu Atwell. Heavy tight end selections at the end of this draft. Dude, I'm going to go with the theme of training camp hype tonight, and I'm going to go Keandre Lambert Smith. Pittsburgh versus Cleveland, week 17, not fun at all. I mean, that could be one of those games. You never know. Love the Elijah Herrero hype, definitely. Yep, with that releasing of Noah Fant. Mike and Arthur Smith don't care about fantasy. That's true. Screw, give me every Chargers rookie. Hey, I got one too. There we go. We finished out the stream with a theme. Tamone with Caleb Williams, Stroud, and Stafford. Caleb is Caleb has got a Dunze. And I guess Roshan Johnson, Stroud. He's got Nico, Schultz, Stafford. It's got Adams. I'm still mad at you for that. So Caleb, Stroud, Stafford, Genty, Hampton, Pollard, Algier, Roshan Johnson, Nico, Adams, Adunze, Debo, Golden, Trey Harris, Goddard, Chig, Schultz, and this Chargers tight end. Nice. What did I don't know what this team was. Penix stacked with Lundo, Darnold stacked with JSN. Somebody took Stafford from us, so I just rolled with those 2 quarterbacks. Kamara, Swift, Tracy, Charbonnet, White. I'm okay with that considering how this draft went. Puka, London, JSN, Pearsall, Bateman, Hollywood Brown, Dontavon Wicks, Keandre Lambert Smith, Kittle, Brenton Strange, Johnny Smith. Yeah, I will take that as an entry. Tajay Brooks been my round 20 pick of late. I do like that, actually. He is another player who we're starting to see get a little bit off-season hype. Don't look at it, it's hideous. Oh, my bad. Yeah, we talked about Woody Marks tonight, and I did the first draft of tonight. I took Woody Marks, so there you go. It's always good to get sniped. Mixing injury helps my pre-rookie draft Woods bags. There you go. Gotta love the $3 contest rooms. Never know what's going to happen. That's for sure. That is for sure. All right, boys and girls, fun draft tonight. Or fun drafts, fun stream, I should say. 3 drafts down. We're going to have plenty of content coming out this week, so make sure you guys are staying posted. And check out all the videos. Do me a favor. Go check them out. Drop comments for me this week. Drop some likes. And just stay posted. Be working into the first week of August. So it's going to be fun time as always. And we're going to continue just to crank out fantasy content for you guys. Going to try and have a video out every day of August for you guys. Stream as much as possible. Do as many live underdog drafts for you guys. As many live subscriber mock drafts on Sleeper for you guys. And once again, our subscriber drafts for the 2025 fantasy football season are open. Send me a message on Discord. The link is down below. $20 buy-in. Send me a message. I'll send you the leak safe link. Once you pay, I will send you the Sleeper link. So if you guys want to get in on the subscriber drafts this year, please send me a message on Discord. And I will be back on tomorrow night for another draft. So make sure you guys are staying posted. We might do a mock draft tomorrow. So stay posted either way on Discord. So Andrea, Taylor, J-Dubs, everybody else who hung out tonight, everybody else in the chat, thank you guys for hanging out, talking some fantasy football. We'll be back soon. Like I said, check out the content this week, and we'll be live streaming again tomorrow night, Monday night, and Tuesday night, mock drafts and underdog drafts. So make sure you guys stay posted. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch, and peace.